solutions consultant from Elsevier, and today I'm here to talk to you on how you can get your journal indexed on Scopus. So I'm sure and most of you here are familiar with Scopus. So the question here is, what does inclusion in Scopus mean for your specific journal per se? So a journal that is suggested to Scopus and gets accepted for inclusion by the CSAB subject chairs and gets indexed into its database will firstly get international visibility. So given how broadly Scopus is used, being indexed in it will obviously help the chances of these articles to be picked up by researchers. So this means that the journals itself, the articles in the journals will get increased citations, but not only just the researchers per se, but also the journal itself. It will also increase the opportunity for collaboration with other researchers from across the world. So the journal, which you are referring to, will be able to contribute to the wider scholarly community in the specialist subject field. So today I'll talk to you about Scopus and the CSAB, the journal selection criteria, the evaluation process, publication ethics, as well as how you can suggest a title to Scopus. So Scopus is designed to support the literature research process. So question, oftentimes when you're writing your paper, you'll be asking, what is the best journal for your research? What is the best way for me to obtain the best titles so that I can augment and improve on my research itself? You also want to know what's the related interdisciplinary and global research that's being produced as of the moment. So you're aware of current trends, current analysis, and current fields and potential areas of studies which you want to conduct your research in. You want to understand that who is actually citing your work, and how is your work, and where is it that's being cited from. I've mentioned trends prior to this, and so that this actually allows you with greater intelligence to spot and identify if these are growing or declining fields. Fifthly, you get to understand on who is working on this within Indonesia itself or throughout the rest of the world on a global basis. So this allows you to find intranationally and internationally potential collaborators for your field of research. Scopus assists you in all of this. So, Scopus is the world's largest abstract and citation database. With 57 million records from across 22,000 active serial titles and across almost 90,000 books, this is one of the largest abstract and citation database. It covers across 4 fields of research, 4 disciplines: physical sciences, health sciences, social sciences, and life sciences. Comparison to the nearest peer will be Web of Science. Scopus, as I mentioned, has 22,000 titles from 5,000 publishers and is updated on a daily basis. This is considerably more than Web of Science itself, which has 12,000 in its core collection from 33,000 publishers that is updated on a weekly basis. If you note across the 4 fields at the bottom, across physical, health, life, and social sciences, you notice that Scopus itself has more than 50% more titles than Web of Science itself. So, what does this actually mean? Broader coverage means more citations. This Nature article, published in 2001, is one of the highest cited articles in Scopus, with 4,800 citations. The same article has 4,500 citations in Web of Science, which represents about 300 less. So due to the broader coverage, Scopus records have some 10% more citations than Web of Science. And this 10% is not just simply a number per se. This 10% also represents a lot more connections to collaborators, to ideas, to alternative routes and potential answers for you as a researcher to understand. So Scopus is the gold standard and is utilized by more than 3,000 universities. Across 150 leading research organizations that rely on Scopus data. So you have THE, you have QS, you have Financial Times. All of these base their ranking systems on Scopus. As of the time, there's actually an ongoing Scopus expansion program. So we are looking to obtain and expand onto cited references. So for the cited references expansion program, we're looking to go back to 1970, looking to add on an additional 8 million articles. For the conference expansion program, we're looking to increase about 1,000 new article titles from 6,000 events, 400,000 papers, and 5 million references. The books expansion program as of the moment has about 86,000 books dating back to 2005, and we're increasing 10,000 per year. So this is an important part of the question. What exactly comprises of the Scopus journal selection criteria? So high quality journals is selected by the Independent Content Selectory and Advisory Board, also known as the CSAB. These are independent and highly respected people and editors within their field itself. They are by no means employed by Elsevier. They are independent and being separate from us so that they function effectively as a third party without any bias, so that whenever they do go through journal selection, they have absolutely no affiliation or attachment with regard to it. This is so that they can provide and gauge journals so that these journals will be able to provide accurate and relevant search results for users. So that there will not be any dilution of search results by irrelevant or low quality content. This ensures that the quality of journals that you're indexing within Scopus is of exceptional standards and that the information you're getting is quality. So this also supports the fact that Scopus itself is recognized as authoritative as the gold standard of ANI database across the world, as well as to support the fact that Scopus itself reflects the truth. So a successful journal selection is a combination and concatenation of different aspects across quality, across relevance, and across diversity. So when we say quality, we're referring to the scientific quality of the science and of the papers published. So that, and it's not only just that, but also across publishing format as well as ethical standards, of which I will delve into more detail subsequently. Relevance with the content type and subject that's relevant to the international user base of Scopus, so that we're not looking to journal titles as well as articles being published as being insular. We want this to appeal across a global database so that everyone who can access Scopus itself will be able to relate to it, and as a result, not only will there be greater international collaboration, but there's also greater international understanding. Diversity itself is a diversity of authorship and editorial board in line with aims and scope. So with a combination of these 3 points, that's how a journal selection can be successful. So how does Scopus actually choose serial content? I've mentioned this in passing in the previous slide. I'll delve into greater detail here. So it goes through 2 stages. The first stage itself, all titles should meet all minimum requirements as stated below to be considered for Scopus review. It needs to go through, it needs to have successful peer review, it needs to have English abstracts, it needs to have regular publication, Roman script references, as well as publication ethics statement. So what do these 5 points mean? For peer review, that's obviously a third-party review. You need to be able to obtain single and double-blind reviews. So what is a single-blind review in this case? It just means that the reviewers of the author of the title will remain anonymous, so that if the author does not know who exactly is it that's reviewing his article, which means that he will not be able to exert any form of pressure on the person who's doing the peer review for him. The anonymous peer reviewer, on the other hand, will be able to write and certify objectively or not. Most of the time it really is objectively how the author's title is without any repercussions. This is the most commonly used form as of the moment. Of course, there's also a double-blind review, peer review, which means that both the author and the reviewer remain anonymous to each other so that they can be very objective about it. Next will be English abstracts. We understand we need English abstracts because it's an international collaborative language. So we're not insisting that your title, your paper itself, has to be written in English itself. We do not insist on that. But what we're looking for is that the abstract be written in English so that it can appeal to an international audience, so that the international audience will be able to understand, in summary, what your paper is about. Your journal itself has to be regularly publicized, because we cannot expect to index a journal itself where the journal itself is only published once a year. If you say that your journal will be published about 4 times a year, we're looking for you to be able to obtain that 4 times criteria which is so stated, because it's very important to remain responsible that way for your readers and for your audience. With regards to Roman script references, it has to be in English characters so that the software will be able to pick it up and index the references itself. publication ethics statement is important because we need our official statement on your website. So once again, I'll go into greater detail in this in subsequent slides. So having cleared stage 1 of this criteria, let me delve into detail onto stage 2. So eligible titles are reviewed by the CSAB according to a combination of qualitative and quantitative criteria. So firstly, with regard to journal policy, it's very important that you have a diverse geographic distribution of editors and authors, because this means that you're able to get collaborative insights as well as an international perspective. So when you say your journal is an international journal of engineering, we're looking for you to actually substantiate that and justify that, because you want your readership and you want your writers and your editors to come from an international board so that people are able to recognize it. Next will be quality of content. With regard to quality and conformity of standard 18 scopes, you need to understand that your journal, with the articles that's being publicized in it, remain relevant to how you stated out your journal title to be. So, say if you're once again using the International Journal of Engineering, we're not looking for you to cover swamplands, which is obviously not an engineering topic per se. But if you're talking about polymers, for instance, or the usage of polymers within construction, of course that makes more sense. Journal setting is very important in clearing the rounds as well before you're being selected. This is very important because you want an editor in charge of your journal who's reputable and who has published, and it's not simply someone who's just there in name as an editor. You want to know that the editor himself is reputable. He has an understanding of how this whole function, how your journal functions, and the best way to set it forward. Because as you all understand, the editor is the best way for a journal to grow. Once again, on regularity, we need to emphasize the fact that when you set forward that you are actually publishing your journal itself 4 times a year, you should adhere to it. And of course, needless to say, your journal needs to be available online as well, and it's furnished with the English language journal homepage so that anyone will be able to access it and will be able to understand it. Needless to say, this quality of the homepage has to be of a high standard. So, as mentioned previously, the CSAB board is independent, and so as to facilitate the transparent title evaluation process. So this is how it functions. The publisher or editor suggests a title, and the CSAB board, and after clearing it, it will go through the CSAB board, and then the title will be enriched. The CSAB board itself will review the titles. And should the subject field be an area in which the CSAB is not aware of, an external reviewer will be brought in to evaluate on this. So at this point in time, they will actually review the title and they'll make a decision on whether if it will go forward to be indexed within Scopus or if it will be rejected, and in which case there will be an embargo, in which case they will suggest on the amendments that you will have to make, in which case you can spend the next couple of months or subsequent couple of years editing your journal to make sure that it's viable to index within Scopus itself. So over here is a timeline of how you can keep track of the titles per se, so of the journal edits per se. So you will receive the submission, and if the submission is validated, it will be enriched. And after the enrichment of the particular journal is completed, and then it will be released to the CSAB, will be reviewed. So for the final decision of whether acceptance or rejection, the CSAB will go through it and will analyze it to see how we can further improve on the journal per se. The specific reasons will be provisioned as well to let you understand why is it that the journal was rejected and what are the criteria that you need to fulfill before you can pass through it. The email, they will subsequently contact the publisher and editor with specific reasons on why the publication was accepted or rejected. And if it's rejected, they give you ways on how you can improve it so that you can actually revise and resubmit it as opposed to an outright rejection per se. The Scopus team will inform the journals on how long that embargo is, and you can subsequently reapply for it again. So this doesn't necessarily mean, so when your journal is actually accepted within Scopus, you need to understand that it doesn't mean that once it's accepted in it, it will always be accepted for the rest of the duration. This doesn't work that way. because Scopus itself places a very high emphasis on the need to sustain and to maintain the quality of all the journals that's indexed within it. So this is how curation functions. So the quality is important because customers demand it, and Elsevier and Scopus itself depends on this. So it will identify and evaluate titles that have been highlighted as that where it needs to be revised and to be amended. It will only select high quality content, it will index these titles, and it will re-evaluate the titles before discontinuing poor performing titles. So it's essentially a rigorous housekeeping exercise designed to ensure that journal content meets the high standards that we and our customers now demand. So this goes through the following steps. The journal performance has to do well against the average of the field. The output has to be more than, cannot be less than 50%. Citations, including self-citations, cannot be more than twice that of, and then usage as well. And at the same time, this is incongruent with publication ethics. I cannot begin to emphasize how important this is, because it's very important to adhere to the ethical concerns with regard to publication. So Scopus itself will inform the journal and the opportunity. So assuming what happens in this case after the reevaluation criteria has been not met, Scopus itself will inform the journal and provide them with the opportunity to improve their performance with regard to these views. And then once the journal itself has found that it's improved, it will measure, Scopus itself will measure the journal performance once again. And then the CSAB will once again re-evaluate this. And if this doesn't fulfill the CSAB criteria, the flow itself would unfortunately have to be discontinued. So obviously the Scopus team will be in conjunction and will be keeping track of the entire process the whole time. So I've emphasized publication ethics numerous times. So what exactly is it? So Scopus requires that every journal which accrues to the system needs to publish a clear and consistent statement of publication ethics and policies in respect of malpractice, and that each publisher itself will be held accountable for the performance and compliance with this policy. Important issues within publication ethics include plagiarism, the lack of originality, fraud, as well as conflicts of interest. So types of ethical complaints that will arise with regard to this includes fabrication of data or cases, willful falsification of data, and plagiarism itself. This is the top tier of the absolute seriousness of ethical complaints. So questionable research practice are the second tier, which is not to say as if they're not serious, but of course it is of course important to know that this will not be tolerated. So this includes unethical approval, not admitting to omit the omission of data, ignoring outliers with regard to your research, not providing provisioning data on side effects, on gift authorship, if your publication has been done in publication, as well as inadequate literature analysis and reviews. So what exactly is plagiarism? To repeat onto it, it means taking credit for other people's texts and ideas without crediting them on where the original text and research and information came from. The literal copying without acknowledgement or permission of an author's work, or substantial copying, or paraphrasing ideas without acknowledging it, reproducing portions of an author's own work without crediting it, as well as international self-plagiarism in which you repeat and self-cite your own work. So a publication ethics statement is crucial with regard to this because it basically outlines the fact that these practices have been adhered to, and the following errors and the following malpractices were not committed. So, as well as to ensuring that specific wording was adhered to as well. So, useful resources which we have provisioned you here include publicationethics.org, as well as ethics.elsevier.com. So you can go to this particular links to look for more thorough links with regard to publication ethics. Over here, I'll outline to you an example of good ethics statements. And this is how an ethical guideline to a publication of a journal should look like. You should outline special notes, you should outline the conflicts, as well as the previous points of notion, which I outlined previously. So how do you actually suggest a title into Scopus? First of all, you go to suggest.stat.scopus.com, and basically you can submit your article into it. All queries regarding to Scopus or the title submission can be emailed itself to titlesuggestion@scopus.com. Also, Elsevier provisions you with the publishing campus, which is essentially an online platform which offers free lectures, interactive training, professional advice to support researchers to publish a world-class journal article, book, or to develop a successful career as a professional researcher. So we understand that dedicated training takes time and effort, and we believe that successful researchers should be recognized for this. Each interactive training module or online seminar will be rewarded with a certificate from Elsevier itself. So thank you very much for your time. Do let me know if you have any questions.